All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. My name is Pearl Winchester, and I'm from New Caledonia. So welcome to the launching webinar of the Water Resource Workgroup for the community of Oceania Geospatial. If you're here, it's because you're interested in GIS or water resources, or both, and Oceania. And so you're at the right place tonight or today with us. Could you please introduce yourself in the chat, name, role, and country? Just type it in the chat so we know who's with us tonight. And Nick is gonna be animating with me tonight, and he's gonna introduce himself right after. And also Jean is gonna be a speaker with us tonight just for a few minutes. And I'm gonna introduce Jean right after. Please, Nick. A plus. All right. So I'm Pearl Winchester. I'm from New Caledonia, but now I'm based in France at the moment because I started studying again at HEC in Paris. I'm a tropical island water specialist. I'm an IT engineer, and I worked in GIS for the water department of the government of New Caledonia. And so I also worked in the public policy. If you want to know more about me, you can find my profile on LinkedIn. And I let Nick introduce himself and then Jean. Thank you.
Thank you, Pearl, and good morning and good afternoon, everyone. My name's Nick, and I'm also I also have a similar hydrology background like Pearl, and currently I'm also working with the Pacific Community, SPC in Fiji, and also working on my thesis on environmental monitoring of river catchments that also uses GIS and remote sensing. And I'll pass to Jean.
Thanks to both of you. Good morning, everyone. So Pearl says good evening because it's night at her place, but in the Pacific it's still the morning. So good morning, everyone. So I'm Jean Massenet from New Caledonia, based in Noumea. I'm the head of a GIS and remote sensing company, private company, basically. But here I'm here with the hat as the co-lead of the Oceania Geospatial animation, which is actually something like 95% of my time. So really nice to be here, and wanted to take this opportunity to thank Pearl and Nicholas for the energy and everything they can do around this useful domain and for this workshop. Thanks again.
All right. So for today, what we want to talk to you about is the new community of Geospatial Water Resource Workgroup. And so we will just do some context starting from the Oceania Geospatial Symposium in 2022, which some of you actually attended. This is Jean that is going to talk to you about that. And then we will introduce the actual water resource workgroup, but what we want to do, what the projects will be for this year. We want to interact with LinkedIn. And then we will finish with a planning proposition for 2024 with webinars, challenges, a hackathon, some OGS. And at the end of our presentation, that is going to last about 20-25 minutes, we will have a time for questions and answer to you, where we will open the microphones. All right. Plus. So, Jean.
Yeah, thanks, Bill. So first of all, I really hope that most of you were at the Oceania Geospatial Symposium 2022 in Noumea. That was a really great experience, and that was kind of the first time that we gathered so many different but complementary sub-events. The two main things to highlight was that was a real inclusive event. So we had technicals, decision makers at both operational and even political level, talking about public and private, talking about research people from institutions, from private sector, from the civil society, and also students. So gathering all those people allowed us to draft all together in a collaborative process 6 projects to be led at a regional scale over 3 main domains. So the first one was about kind of land use, land cover. The other one is about wetlands, sorry about that. And the last one is water resources. So this is here talking about the 2 projects around water resources that has been designed all together during the Oceania Geospatial Symposium in 2022 in Noumea with all the participants. So this is a really, really important thing for us. Parallel to that, to those projects and so on, we also had a kind of strategy, not sure it's the good terminology, but a kind of willingness to gather the people through something which is useful and easy for everyone. And what has been discussed within the PIAG, actually the Pacific Island Advisory Group from the GEO, gathering SPCs, PREP, Australia, Geoscience Australia, CSIRO, and so on, was about the capability to use a social network such as LinkedIn to gather a whole community. So basically, we went from scratch before OGS up to something like almost 600 followers after the OGS, so the symposium. And the vision is like we have a central page where everyone is connected or can connect with themselves, etc., sharing common ideas about geographical data and Oceania Way. So those are the 2 main things. And parallel to that, we have those working groups, and the groups are dedicated to some specific domains. And the water resources is the first group that has been officially launched. So really pleased actually to welcome you all within this LinkedIn community, which is called COG, Community of Oceania Geospatial. Just for the little story, the original name was Oceania Geospatial Community, but OGC, as most of you know, is already taken as a name, as an acronym. So to not do any mistake or whatever, the name of the page is Community of Oceania Geospatial, so COG. I think that's it for me. So we still have other groups to be set up. They are not necessarily already launched officially, but all of this, please keep in mind that all of this work is a community work. So we will not take the lead on everything. This is impossible for us. We are not paid to do so. We are really lucky to get the close collaboration with NC Geospatial Animation together with SPC and K stakeholders and partners. But the long-term vision can be addressed only if everyone feel concerned of it and take the lead on what they are keen to. So this is a collaborative process. Once again, everything is about collaboration overall in our such a wide region, right? So yeah, I think we will talk about OGS 2024 at the end of the presentation, if I'm right. So I will just leave the floor by here. Thanks.
Yeah, we will talk about it very quickly. So if you want to say things, you can go ahead now, Jean. But yeah, we can talk about it at the end also. No problem.
Okay, so just a little word on the OGS, the vision we have is about the animation of the community. So we have this LinkedIn central page, the LinkedIn groups, parallel groups. We can put some good feedbacks and good outputs from the groups to the central page. Then all the people following the central page can be interested in entering some groups and so on. And the global animation is also a key thing of getting in-person meetings. This is really important for us. Once again, not doing just like gathering the people to drink beers and so on. This is important too, okay? But what is really important is like to make sure that while gathering the people, you get out of it with concrete actions to be led all together. But that has been co-constructed, co-built. So this is important to us, and to do so, the objective is to organize, and this has been announced for the first edition of the Oceania Geospatial Symposium, to organize such a central event every 2 years. So the first one was 2 years ago. Here we are. So this year we might organize a new edition of the Oceania Geospatial Symposium. Lead is on data terra research infrastructure and together with IRD. So we have our colleagues online today, but we will keep you posted on the dates and place. Nothing decided finally, but it might take place end of October in Tahiti normally. So we will confirm you all of that officially, more officially, as soon as possible. And indeed, like we really sincerely hope that you understand the philosophy, the way we are trying to build things all together, and we'll get you all at OGS this year too. Thanks.
Thank you, Jean. Just for the people that just joined us, welcome here. And if you could just put your name, role, and country in the chat. And yeah, this is just a quick reminder for the new people. I am Pearl from New Caledonia, and I'm with Nicolas from Fiji, SPC Fiji. We are the co-animators of the new community of geospatial, the water resource work group that we are about to show you. Plus Nicolas.
Thank you, Pearl. So as was mentioned by Pearl and Jean, in putting together this water resources working group, we're trying to bring together people who are interested in a range of different areas of water resources, but also applying this technical lens of geospatial information systems, geographic information, satellite data, surveys and GPS and GNSS data, techniques, and applying that to water resource management, and of course with a geographic focus on Oceania. So within this areas, the overlap of all these areas, that's what this working group will be made of. And so everyone is welcome, though, public and private sectors and others outside. And we'll be covering a range of different topics to do with rainfall and surface water and groundwater, natural hazards, droughts and floods and other things, as well as more other areas such as integrated water resource management, water quality standards, and ecosystem services. And as mentioned by Jean and Pearl, this is really a follow-on from the outcomes of OGS 2022. And for 2024, we'll be focusing on kind of the two main projects that were highlighted as part of the outcomes of OGS 2022. The first one is about best practices for water resource management using GIS and approaches. And this aims to improve water resource management. The second project is really more about monitoring water quality using efficient, compatible, and consistent indicators. And this will help us, ensure that we can have long-term analysis that's comparable across different parts of the region. And I'll pass back to Pearl to go into more detail. Excuse me, Pearl, I think you're still on mute.
Yeah, I saw it. Sorry. So this is the slide that are extracted from the final slides of the OGS 2022. So this is what we actually talked and exchanged at the time. And so about the best practice benchmark for water resource, what really was highlighted was creating and sharing the FAIR GIS system and the common databases for water resources management, really to work on tools and methodologies that were actually allowing a collection of data and sharing the data, and to assess if some best practices were already existing in the world and make sure that we could centralize them and maybe adapt them if necessary for Oceania. And so some of the success indicators that were talked about at the time were that the benchmark report is widely shared, but we have actually come on and endorsed accuracy of the methodologies and the approaches for the benchmark. And another indicator was that the number of people with access to good quality water was actually evolving in the good way. Yes. And so this is the second slide for that project that was discussed at the time. I won't go through it because it's a lot of information, but you can see who was actually part of the group. A first project timeline that we kind of talked about at the time, and who could be a facilitator. Actually, we had Nick's name and my name somewhere in here, and which peaks were kind of priority. We will send you the presentation after the webinar, and you will be able to have a replay anyway. Yes, Jean, you want to say something?
No, sorry about that. I was just about to applause because you stayed like you would be here and you're here. So thanks for that.
Yeah. All right. Press for Nick.
Thank you, Pearl, and thanks, Sean. We're still here a couple years later. So, in essence, Pearl has covered that first project. The second project about monitoring water quality using compatible and consistent indicators. This has three core parts. Firstly, enhancing regional initiatives using Earth observation and as well as traditional monitoring tools. Secondly, to monitor and analyze water quality and quantity through community and stakeholder consultation and education. And in doing all of this, we also want to produce regional guidelines and best practices methods. So the success of these indicators will be measured through online and paper-based surveys of communities and others, stakeholders. There may also be education packs on the objectives. Secondly, the number of people using these indicators and guidelines will be another success indicator. And third, improved longer-term water quality outcomes. And again, through that process after OGS 2022, we were also able to capture the who, when, and where, the timelines, as well as the kinds of the different countries where this might be applied. However, this is still we're still able to co-design this with your inputs, and we look forward to working together with you on, and those of you who are interested in shaping some of this. So with that in mind, we'd like to next seek your inputs through this interactive activity. So Pearl has put together this poll, and so we're asking you all a question that you'll be able to answer in the Teams application. So the question is, what is your highest priority subject for water resource monitoring using GIS and Earth observation? So which area of water resource management is your highest priority? So please type your answer in the online poll that Pearl has prepared, and we'll be able to see some of the results shortly.
Yeah, you should be able to see it. And could you please answer in English so we can actually have kind of the same words? I don't know if you see it. If not, please type it in the conversation, but normally it's working. There it's coming. So yeah, go ahead and type. Yeah, there we are. 7 answers so far. It's pretty diverse. Watershed, referential, volume, groundwater, sustainability, legal culture, drought forecasting. I'm waiting for more because we are 19 and I only have 9, so I think we can at least wait a few more seconds for the other ones to answer. It's coming up, 12 answers. It's going to be up. All right, I see coastal management, turbidity, water quality. Good. 14 answers. Drought is getting bigger and bigger. We've got DEM also. Yeah. All right. 15 answers coming up. Water quality is coming back. So we have 2 answers for water quality, 2 for drought, and 2 for DEM. This is getting drought monitoring. That 2 also, yes. All right. Well, I hope everybody had the time to answer. Another one. I'm gonna wait another 10 seconds, let's say. Water. 4 people for water. That's good. All right. Up. All right. So I guess this is it. That's it. Up. 3, 2, 1. No last minute answer. That's it. All right. Well, thank you all for your answers. So what we can see that we have, we have water, of course. Water is the highest priority for water resource monitoring, and we have 2 for DEM, 3D models that actually showed up. Water quality got 2, and drought monitoring got 2, and all of the other ones got 1 answer. So thank you all for answering. Cool. This is great. And Nick, you're muted, but that's my time anyway to speak. So about the calendar for 2024, what we wanted to do for a start is actually to follow the natural cycle of a little water drop. And so, plus Nick, please. And so we will start with a technical webinar in a bit more than 2 weeks, almost 3 weeks actually, on April 4th. And so first technical webinar that we propose is about rain and cyclone forecasting. And you have here the link to register to the event, but we will send it to you in a separate email. I can actually send it to you in the chat a bit later. I'll do it like this. Then, as we can see that actually we have water quality and flood assessment. Water was the main one. We are going to use the priority from today to actually propose you some subjects for the coming webinars. And so another technical webinar is planned around June 6th for now. And I'll check which one was the first, the main one, if flooding was the first one or not. And then around August 6th, another technical webinar. I put some examples, but it will depend on the poll of today. In September, we are proposing a hackathon that has to be implemented, but just so you know. October 1st is going to be our fourth technical webinar about water quality measurement, rivers and underground. And in October or November, at the end of October actually, the Oceania Geospatial Symposium is planned for now. It's a work in progress. And if Jean, you want to add a bit more here or not, then.
No, I think we said everything, and once again, we will take time to get back to all of you. So just for you to know that we have a kind of database with most of the contacts based on OGS 2022 that we've been gathering. This kind of workshop is also important to make sure that we have all of you in the loop. So we will have 2 types of communication. The first one is through email, which is the kind of normal way, but indeed we will use, and this is the main objective of it, but we will use the community of Oceania Geospatial LinkedIn page to broadcast the information about the OGS 2024, the dates, place, and
Yes.
all the details, then everyone can manage it the best.
Yes. Plus, this is actually a good transition, because this is the way we want to propose to you to interact for the water resource work group, as we are all in different countries. And so we created a special water resource COG work group on LinkedIn, which you can follow with that link, where we actually want some collective intelligence, where we can all share our tips, idea, best practices, experiences. The idea is really to build a community of practice and to network together. And if you're on your side and you have a question, you're looking for help and maybe some solutions, don't hesitate to actually use this LinkedIn group to ask for help. It might be a start. And this is also the place where we'll keep you updated with the events, the webinars, the trainings. We also have some other ideas that we didn't put in the timeline for now, but we're thinking about MOOC, the massive online open course. We're looking about training. Many ideas can actually come up from you too. So depending on what you need and your ideas, don't hesitate to share. Plus, yes, Jean.
Yeah, thanks, Pearl. And just to say a little word about MOOCs and so on. So this is a really important thing. The difference between MOOCs and all the other kind of events or whatever is like it's useful with the at long term. So whenever somebody wants to get the video and practice himself on his side and so on. So basically, the most important for us is to make sure that everything we do will be answering most of the needs, the concrete and operational needs. So please feel free to share to Pearl and Nicholas every of your possible needs around MOOCs. This could be dedicated to water resources, but even more widely. And this is also the way we have partners such as DataTerra leading the regional dynamic in geospatial together with the world regional community indeed, but to make sure that we can have this kind of knowledge transfer, but basically the bottom-up process is still the most important one. So please feel free to share any of your kind of interests that you would have, and our work will be to facilitate the things in order for us all within the region to get access to the good tools that we need. Thanks.
All right. Plus. And so this is the last slide of the presentation. So I wanted to thank you for attending. I mean, we all wanted to thank you for attending. We will open the time for questions and answer, but just a reminder, yes, our next first event is this first technical webinar about rain and cyclone forecasting. And we already have 3 speakers that are in line for this webinar. We have Dr. Moleni from Tonga. We will have a speaker from Vanuatu, Mrs. Moara. And we will have somebody from Papua New Guinea, and he's actually with us tonight. It's Rua Puka. So I do hope that you will be available on April 4th for the first webinar. And just under you have the links to our LinkedIn pages. I will open the microphone now for questions and answer, and it's open for you. Just raise your hand, please, before actually trying to speak. And yes, it's up. Does anybody have a question?
A question or a comment or any possible recommendation. Everything, once again, is about co-construction. So please, Claire.
Somebody's actually raising the hand. So yes, Claire. That doesn't work. I actually opened the microphone. It should be working.
You're muted.
Yeah, she's muted, but Oh, it's at the top on the right.
Yes, okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello, everybody. I'm so sorry about it. Okay, I'm in New Caledonia, and I'm a lawyer. So I have a question about social sciences, and because what you talked about is very, very interesting, but I don't see any time about or anything about social sciences, and it's very important to for water management, to water quality management, to be operational, to take into account some social sciences and some legal aspects. So is it the right place and at the right time to talk about it? I don't know about that.
It's always the right time, and it could be the right place. And actually, I think, Nicholas, maybe you want to say something about that, or?
Yeah, sure. I think that that's a really good point from Claire. That's something that we hadn't thought a lot about yet, but it's certainly something that is covered a lot in more on the GIS side than the Earth observation side. Although you can find overlaps between the social sciences as well. But certainly if there are important social science questions, they can be analyzed through a GIS lens. I mean, and that, for example, could be something like questions around uh, ownership of different water reserves, water tanks and things, or it could be around, legal issues as well, and legal boundaries of land ownership or water resource ownership and things like that, for example. But certainly it is something that can be covered within this working group. It might not be every week, but it's certainly, I mean, every session, but maybe in some sessions more than others. Back to Pearl and Jean.
Yeah, sure. And I know also at the integrated management of water with the local population is not implemented the same way in all the countries of the Pacific. So this is definitely something we can actually address on the special subject. Let's say for rain forecasting, maybe one country actually used rain forecasting as an entryway to talk with the population, or maybe it was water quality, or maybe it was something else. Or we could also, if it's a need for for many peaks at least, to get one special webinar about how we can actually try to implement integrated water resource management in our peak from experiences from the other countries. So it's not, yeah, it's definitely, it can be a subject, of course, and we can definitely talk about it and share about it here using the mapping anyway, like participative mapping. It's definitely something that is happening in some of the countries.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. It's a good subject. Anybody else for another question?
Just a comment on that. This is exactly the way that we would like to work all together. Actually, Claire, you have a specific vision and totally complementary to some other specialists and so on. And working all together, we make sure to not forget anything. And they say that the policy, right? The policy is one of the most important thing to not forget. So thanks for your comments. Really important.
Anybody else for a question? I don't see anything. Nobody's raising their hand. I guess everything was so clear, or maybe it's too early for you.
Shall I propose everyone to turn on the camera, then we can take a picture of this first launching webinar?
Yeah, sure. Everybody's allowed to actually open the microphone and turn on the camera now, so.
Good to see all the faces.
It is great to see all the faces.
Here we are,
And
Pacific people.
yeah, And thank you all for being here with us with the first one. It's my first webinar, so I'm really happy to see all of you.
So we also
I guess
many
yes.
people from Samoa, right?
Oh yeah.
Everyone. Hi, Nicholas.
Good.
Hey,
Yeah.
Marusa. Talofa.
Oh, Laurent is here also. There we are. Okay, so Jean, can you actually do the capture, please, or do you want me to do it?
Capture. So if you're okay with that, let's say a 3, 2, 1. Cheers. Thank you. It's okay for me.
Perfect.
Thanks a lot for that.
All right. So, well, before if there's no more question, then I think we're going to be good for today. But I'm just going to send you the link for the next webinar, so you already have it if you want to register. Where is it? It's in here. Tac, copier. That's the one I want.
Is the how to say that the hour already set up, the time slots?
So the time slot is going to be exactly the same one as now. It's 9 a.m. Fiji time, because it's the time that I think works the most for everybody. But if this is a question I had, if it's not a good timing for us, then you can let us know now. So I hope it's okay for you, 9 a.m. in Fiji. But if it's not, then it's time to raise your hand and say no.
I believe it's one of the best, referring to the Pacific region.
Yeah, well, I kind of worked it like in a scientific way to try with the timetable and stuff. So, yeah.
All right.
All right. So I just paste you the link for the next for the next webinar on April 4th. So feel free to register. As I said, we will have speakers from Papua New Guinea, from Vanuatu, and from Tonga, but is based in Fiji now. And it's going to be about rain and cyclone forecasting. Thank you all again for being with us today, actually tonight for me. And if it's good for you, then I can say thank you again and see you next time.
Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Have a nice evening. And good night.
See ya.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Comment ça va, Marie?